Oh yes, here we go. It is the P.M.P. Saturday night. Late. Bet you're expecting me to be falling about the place, or at least Terry to be slurring his words. We'll see how it goes. I only had a couple watching the game. I'm not gonna lie. I took it easy. I didn't want. I knew the writing would be on the wall, mate. If me and you both just started hammering the blue label, the green label as we'll call it. Do you know what I mean? On a Saturday night before the show, so took it quite easy. But yes, Terry, how are you, mate? You good?
I'm all right, Bhoycie. Not since the last time we were on, but in the last month, I've lost a stone. So the old blue label,
great, mate.
The old blue label is actually it's kicking in a lot quicker when you're lighter. And no, I'm good. I've had a good couple of weeks, keeping well, head's in a good place, plenty of exercise, good family stuff going on. Going to do a couple of quick shout outs if you don't mind. First one's my wee nephew Conor. He's 5 and he's a year into his chemotherapy, and he took part in his school sports day the other day. And honestly, I have a video of him, and he was like Usain Bolt. He done the last leg of the relay, and he was like Usain Bolt, just running around the place. And he's got a wee valve in and all for his chemo getting into him and everything. And honestly, very, very proud moment. And the second shout out is for my brother-in-law, Mark, who's a dyed-in-the-wool Rangers fan who still, actually, I've just been off the phone to him. He still thinks Rangers are going to win the league, and he doesn't see any scenario where Celtic will win 10 in a row, whereas I am 100% certain we will win as many in a row as we want to win from now, because Scottish football's complete. It's done. It's over. It's all done. So I'm in a good place.
You certainly are. That's a great way to open up the show. A big shout out to your family members as well, mate. Nice one.
Thank you.
That was really nice. Right, okay. Well, Celtic went to Tynecastle. It was 0-0 at half time. Some were nervy. I wasn't particularly nervy. I thought we'd get over the line anyway, albeit it wasn't a great first half display by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure we'll do the usual round robin with players. Certain players will be shite now all of a sudden again, Terry. You know the drill. This is just what happens when, Celtic play any fixture. I think anyone who's not an 8 out of 10 or over is written off again. I'm sure we'll hear plenty of that tonight as well, and that's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast. They all get paid tens of thousands of pounds, so they can take the criticism that they get as well, I suppose. Whether I think it's harsh or not, we can debate on the bus. It finished 4-1 though after that 0-0 at half time, thanks to an emphatic Celtic half display where they really are, as Tony Haggart used to say, a rip-roaring, free-scoring, never boring Celtic. That's certainly what they've been this year. And I think, if this is Brodgeball, then give me that every single day of the week, because we are, when we get going through the gears, playing as an exciting a football as you ever seen under Postecoglou. If not, this is up there with the invincible season domestically. The only added advantage we've got this year is, as I touch on almost every single episode we do, is Celtic in Europe look finally like they might be arriving in some form on that stage as well, and almost mirroring their amazing domestic form on the European stage, which all these brilliant domestic Celtic sides we've seen over the last couple of decades haven't been able to do so. Anyway, we'll probably talk about Europe later on in the episode. Big shout out, there's over 100 live. Remember, hitting that like button. Hit subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Hit the wee bell beside the subscribe button if you've not done that, because that means you never miss a bus picking you up at the stop. If you want to become a member, like so many have, it is $1.99 a month. It helps keep the wheels on the road. We're dishing out, any sort of revenue it brings in. I'm dishing out to the members who have been, the contributors, I should say, who have been so amazing over the last it's nearly 3 years, Terry, we've been doing this, believe it or not. It'll be 3 years in 2 weeks. We'll let the dust settle on that. But yeah, this month it'll be the Punk Duck Warlord getting a wee token of our appreciation. So you doing the memberships obviously contributes massively to that. So a big thank you. And remember, piesports.com. What's it? Bus 1888, 199. What am I talking about? Bus 1888 is the code to use for the tasty pastry treat, and you get a 12.5% discount. Well, Terry, me and the judge were talking on Thursday about strongest 11s, best 11s, and I felt they'll play the best side. The best side that would win whatever fixture they were coming up against, it may well coincide with the fact it's the best 11 we have in some of these games. Today, did you get the feeling that was Celtic's best 11?
I think it's Brendan Rodgers' first choice to 11. I think that's now clear. My own personal thoughts is I didn't expect to see that lineup today. I know the general managerial rhetoric is you take one game at a time, but I'm pretty sure Brendan and Celtic will be looking at this next 21 days where we've got 7 matches in 3 different competitions as being a cluster of fixtures. And I don't think you take them all as one at a time. I think you've got to plan for those 7 games, a game every 3 days, essentially. And the competitions comprise of the Champions League, which now needs to be Celtic's number 1 priority because the Scottish League is finished. It's over. It's done. Therefore, Europe becomes a priority. The league is then in the background, and we've also got a League Cup final against Rangers. So we've got 7 fixtures. Those fixtures started tonight with Hearts away, Bruges at home, Ross County at home, Aberdeen away, Celtic home to Hibs, away to Zagreb, and Rangers in the final. And that's all happening in the course of the next 3 weeks. So I expect a different starting lineup tonight. I didn't expect him to flog the likes of the 3 Japanese guys who probably didn't get a lot of game time, but did a lot of air miles.
I don't think they did. I think it was only Maeda who featured in both the games, and Hitachi Kyogo came as a sub in one.
Minimal. I didn't expect him to flog Engels, who did get a lot of game time. And then you've got Johnson and Trusty from Canada and America who did travel and did play some part. I didn't expect to see that lineup tonight, given that will be the starting lineup in the Champions League game during the week. I thought he would have given some of those guys a bit of a rest, or maybe brought them on and gave them 20 minutes, half an hour kind of thing, just to get them back in tune. But he's gone all in for this game tonight with what is without doubt his first choice 11, despite what he says about it being a squad and he picks a team for the game. That's his first choice 11. That's his strongest 11. I didn't expect to see it today, just with what I've described there as the next 3 weeks worth of matches, which is going to be the most intense period in the season so far. International football's now done until March. This is where you don't necessarily win competitions, but you certainly sow the seeds for what your season looks like at the end. And we need to come out of this next 3 weeks qualified for the Champions League next stage, which is a great achievement. Top of the league, which I think is just a given. And we need to win that cup final against Rangers. So all in, I thought you would have mixed it up a bit. I mean, we carry a squad of highly paid players like Forrest and McCowan that we've brought in, who wouldn't have been travelling anywhere during the last 2 weeks. If we're not going to use them in a game like that today, when are we going to use them? I don't completely understand. But who am I? I'm just a fat lad from 20 miles away from where Brendan Rodgers was brought up. He knows better than me. He got the job done. We won emphatically at a ground that we lost at last season. He knows what he's doing. So I definitely expected McCown to play. I mean, you've brought this guy in. He's had absolutely minimal game time, but you know that he's trusted. You know that he can do it against any of these teams. I expected him to play, but manager's gone full strength, and he's given Hearts total respect, I suppose, by doing that. But I think that 11 that started today will be the exact same 11 that start in the Champions League. And I just thought it might be a chance to mix it up a little bit. And the last time we came back after the international break was the Aberdeen game, where we played well, but there was just a period in the second half where it got away from us in a 15-minute spell. And I just think a lot of these lads have been away. Likes of McCown and Forrest would have been at Lennoxtown throughout the last 2 weeks, working with the manager. I just felt if you're gonna carry these guys and pay them big salaries to be essentially backup players, this is the type of game where you expect to bring them in and for them to turn up and get the job done. So I was very surprised with his starting 11, to be honest, given that that's his clear starting 11, and I thought he might have protected some of those guys for during the week.
Yeah, interesting, because one of the other aspects too, of course, is the momentum thing. I was saying this with Mark on Thursday as well. You know, when you look at any interview with players when they're talking sort of retrospectively about their career or at a certain point in their, or a certain spell at a certain club or whatever, whenever they've had the most successful periods, they want the games thick and fast. And the reason for that is the momentum that they gather. And I think maybe Rodgers just thought, 2 weeks out, let's get the best combinations I feel I've got in the team back, connecting with each other, and then they'll be in full flow come midweek. And that might have been the logic behind that, albeit that doesn't change my view. I was still surprised to see someone like Cameron Carter-Vickers playing, because you do feel he's the number one choice at centre-back, but you do feel he's also someone that really 1 game a week is what he's almost became associated with over the last sort of 2 seasons. Or being able to do that. If he does 2 games a week, fine, but it will only last a small period before there's a wee sort of breakdown and then another injury lapse.
I think the manager, Bhoycie, I think his mindset will be this game and the midweek game, and then next week against Ross County at home, start to give guys a rest. I think that's probably what he's looking at.
Michelle Reid comes in saying, I love the fact I'm in my local pub, which is a majority Rangers fans, and I have this live on both tellies. Oh, dear me. So, at the count of
Get
3,
it obvious. Or what do you say over there? Get it right round you.
Get it right round you. Oh, a big shout out, peace and love and all that, and enjoy your beers or drown in your sorrows, whatever it is. Don't want to get Michelle in too much trouble, mate. I don't even know where we are now. Yeah, with regards to the squad rotation and all that, though, listen, you said about McCowan. Sorry, I hate when folks say listen at the start of things. I didn't mean that. I take that right back. I hate when folks say that. See, when they go,
I always listen to you,
and then they talk. I fucking hate when folk do that. It's fucking rude. Anyway, that was a slip of the tongue there. See, anyway, listen. Right, okay. As I was saying, with Luke McCowan, for example, the big man has played more than you're making out, Terry. He's featured in a hell of a lot of games this season. I don't subscribe to the fact he's not had adequate game time. I think he has. I can see what your argument for him being included either in the start lineup or as a substitute today and not being. But see, at the same time, he's used all 5 subs as well today. It's not like the first choice 11, if it is that, has been another half getting pulled there. It's not as if you're making them all do 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So when I look at guys like Luke McCowan, yes, he's unlucky, but there's only so many players you can play. I've been, as you know, absolutely raving about Luke McCowan, as have you when he's played, Terry, and many P.M.Ps when he's came on. But he'll get other chances. He'll get plenty of opportunities, and I still think he may well start a Champions League game at some point this season. Albeit, by not being included today, that looks further away from coming true. There's an interesting prophecy to make, though. But yeah, I think if we're going to be playing 16 players or utilize 16 players at Tynecastle, mate, I think anyone can really argue that folk aren't getting a fair crack of the whip. How many times has Rodgers used 5 subs this season? I would hazard a guess it's a hell of a lot. So,
if you add up his minutes, so Bhoycie, he hasn't very many minutes, and he hasn't been involved in key moments. He's coming on when games are done. I just think if I'm that player, I'll be slightly disappointed in terms of minutes. He's gone from where he's a late developer. He's got his dream move. And he's in his conversations with the club, it's probably been, if you produce the goods, we'll play you. But in any of the games that he's played, he has produced the goods. But I don't think he's had much game time. I know he's featured in lots of games, but he's coming on at the tail end, and that doesn't really count for me. And I just think when you're utilising the squad and you're trying to manage all the different competitions that we're in, I just thought today was prime time for someone like him to come in instead of an Engels who played 90% of Belgium's 2 matches. Hatate, who's travelled all around the world.
Yeah. I'd say that.
There's no place for McCowan today, and I just don't see where you play him. He'll not start during the week against Bruges.
So did you think McCowan was more worthy of a start than Bernardo, for example?
No, but again, Bernardo travelled and Bernardo played a lot of minutes during that break as well. I just thought
played a lot of minutes this season, was he?
No, but I'm just thinking in terms of the players the manager will have worked with over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair.
McCowan will have been there every day. He'll have been part of it. Forrest will have been there every day. You know, those kind of players will have trained hard over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, he still puts in Engels and Hatate, who've been travelling and playing minutes. I just thought today was right for it. Now, don't get me. I've said already. I'm just a fat idiot from County Antrim. I'm just a fat idiot from County Antrim. Brendan Rodgers gets paid the big bucks because he knows what he's doing. But
it's okay though to have an opinion, mate.
I just think if you're McCowan and you're training hard and players have been travelling all over the world, you probably expect to get the nod today. And he never get any game time, and that's difficult. And I suppose I'm also just looking away from today's 90 minutes, and I'm thinking if you're maybe Lennon Miller and you're looking and you're thinking and you know you've got an option of Celtic in January and you're looking at what happens and you're thinking, do I really want to go there and get minimal game time? I don't know. I just thought today was the right time for somebody like McCowan to come into a fixture that he's totally familiar with, totally comfortable with, and could come in there and boss that game. I just thought with the air miles and the game time that those other boys have played, this was the right time to do it. But the manager felt differently. And I mean, Engels, don't get me. I think we need to be totally honest, right? I think we've got a player here. I think we've got somebody who will be a really good footballer for us in the next 2 to 3 years. I think we've got somebody that we will sell for enormous profit. But I think, hand on heart, if you have to assess, I know we talked about what would you value him at against Hatate and McGregor and whoever else. But I think now you have to, after a good run of games, you have to say he's probably a wee bit underwhelming. But that's not me saying he's not a good signing. That's not me saying he's not worth the money. That's just me saying I'm probably a little bit underwhelmed after a good range of games and a good range of performances. And I think there's so much potential and so much development to come. And I think he will be worth the money. I just think right now, at this moment in time, he's probably a little bit underwhelming for what we were expecting to get. And I just thought today was right for McCowan. But what do I know?
What do you know indeed, mate? When it comes to Engels is going to be someone who gets a hell of a lot more attention.
That's for the cat.
And I was going to highlight that. It's going to be one of those nights, I think. Sarah Fife is saying, my wee cat is watching. You're on every TV in this house. My man is a big fan. His name is Michael. So, as Graham Tyrrell
said, Michael. Cheers the cat.
He says, Terry, if you're fat, if you're fat, then Big Casper is obese. Casper does look like he's put on the pounds, Graham. But he also says, Michael, they have taken your catnip away. And it's good to know we're not always being watched on the big screens, Big Kierdo. You're watching on my wee phone screen whilst I have a shite. Nice one, Kierdo. And you're all You're all absolutely welcome on the bus. Definitely. More information. It was an easy cure, but hey, as long as you're having a good Saturday night, mate. But yeah, Ingles is one that's going to get loads of fucking. He's going to get loads of attention because he's the club's record fee. But I still stand by it. There's an unrealistic, I think, expectancy put on someone that we value our other midfielders higher than what we've paid. His true value is 11 million. That's Celtic got from a top 5 league. These clubs, if ever there was a league that was going to inflate a price even, it'd be a top 3, top 5 league. The Bundesliga falls in those categories, or one of those categories anyway. 11 million was his value. We've got a 15, 20 million pound to tie. We've got an indispensable Callum McGregor. You know, don't expect it to be.
We'll double that, Bhoycie. We'll minimum double that.
Should.
Maybe treble it.
We should. Who knows? The most important thing, though, is that we give a 20-year-old who joined, I think he's turned 21 now, he's getting his first dips into international football. That shows you how highly revered he is there. Just give him the time and trust Rodgers' judgment. There's a player there.
100%.
I am astounded at times the negativity you can see towards it. And do you know what? For the first time ever, I'm going to say something I didn't expect. Is this part of it where Celtic go, it become, one of the reasons we don't like the inflated fees? I'm sure they cling to it if it is one. I'm probably giving them one now. But one of the things I think they used or could utilise as an argument would be, it brings too much of a sideshow and it puts too much pressure on the player, and they often, more often than not, don't deliver unless they are fully blown pedigree players, which we're just not going to get. But if we break our record fee for a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, they're still going to be treated like an 11 million pound player would have been 20 years ago. We're expecting 11 million's fuck all. Like fuck all. Like Birmingham City paid 10 million pound in League One for a player this summer. 10 million for a player in League One in England. We've signed a player for 11 million, expecting to be fucking Maradona. It's like, get a grip. He'll take time, but I do think there is a player there. But I think sometimes, sadly, one of the sideshows that occur is the fact that because of the fee, it's going to get him that extra eyes on him, extra eyes all the time. And I think too quick to criticise on him. I think one way to judge him as well, Terry, which I think is really important, is Brendan keeps picking him. And he'll pick him midweek. And he ain't doing it because he's under pressure from the board to do it because he broke the record. Ask Adam Ida. So the reason Brendan keeps picking him is because he's the man that he fancies that midfield ahead of Luke McCowan and ahead of, as it stands, Bernardo, who, incidentally, I thought was excellent yet again when he came on. And I've really liked what I've seen from him so far this season. So much so, if I take my bias that I've got towards Luke McCowan, I would say Bernardo's been more eye-catching in his displays, and he's had many of his have been cameo as well. I think he's been better than Luke McCowan has been, but I lean towards Luke McCowan just from the underdog point of view. You can't help it. Yeah. I think in the cold light of day, I'd say Bernardo's the one that could be sitting there going, I'm still, if anyone's in with a shout at getting a wild card midweek, it would be Bernardo, albeit I don't think he will.
No, but I think that's totally fair, and I hope I haven't come across as being critical of Engels. Engels is doing...
No. I'm aiming that more, by the way.
No, I know.
Views, not yourself.
But I know that Engels' fee is all based on potential. It's not based on the here and now. It's based on potential. But because that is a record fee for Celtic coming in, and I don't know if it beats the Torrey Andre Flow fee or not. I don't really care. But somebody coming into Scottish football with that fee, and you've seen it in the game, I think it was against Hearts, where they were taunting him about his fee whenever he was stepping up to take a penalty. When somebody comes in at that money, you're just expecting it to be messy. Like, you're expecting him to get the ball, and every time he gets it, he's going to beat 4 and score because he's the record signing in Scottish football. But this is a guy, if he was at that level, we would never have been anywhere near him. We've signed a player based on potential. We've changed our model from the 2 to 3 million potential signing to the 8, 9, 10 million potential signing, which hopefully through time will then become 40, 45, 50 million signing. And this guy's been signed on potential. And to expect him to just come in and be a level above from day one it's not realistic. And he's probably right there, bang. And the manager has said this. He's doing what we expected him to do. And I think because we lost Matt O'Reilly for the big fee, and then we brought in Engels for the big fee, people just join the dots and think Engels is going to replicate Matt O'Reilly in his last season. But you've got to remember, in Matt O'Reilly,
that, isn't it?
Matt O'Reilly's previous season, Matt O'Reilly was criticised because he didn't score goals. And I'm pretty sure over the next 2 years, Engels will go from where he's at now to become a goal scorer, an assist provider. Like, if we're being honest, apart from the penalties he hasn't scored, and apart from his effort against the post in one of the early games, he hasn't really threatened. He doesn't look like a goal-scoring player, but that can change very quickly. I think he's...
Do you want to give me the alternative view on it? Just to play devil's advocate. You know I'm all team Engels.
Go ahead.
So far, if we were to compare him to one signing we've made in my lifetime, I'll go by, I would say there's a lot of comparisons in his displays so far to when we signed Massimo Donati from AC Milan. That first season, he started every game the first half of the season, and he was really neat and tidy on the ball. He didn't score goals, he didn't assist, and he wasn't like the sort of he wasn't breaking up the play either as much as the rest. But he was sort of just there, and you could tell he was technically one hell of a footballer. But what Donati lacked, I felt, and it turns out he had a huge personality off the field, but on the field personality. And I think that's what Engels is probably needing a wee bit more of. He just looks a wee bit within himself. And I think sometimes that can be such a key attribute that gets overlooked. And I think Donati, for all the ability he has, I think he just lacked, I don't know, just an injection of like, come on, let's go up for it. Do you know what? In more recent times, you could compare it to Nicholas Kuhn. Last season looked very much come see, come sa, meh, airy-fairy, indecisive. This year, even again today, you saw him in a wee bit of an altercation with Devlin. And at one point, he's got the bit between his teeth. And as his personalities came out, so is his responsibility on the park, his responsibility with the ball, and, an upturn in performances that no one expected. But
I'll give you a different view on it, Bhoycie. Scott Brown signed for Celtic. That was a record Scottish transfer. And when I look at what I've seen in Scott Brown as a Hibs player, and I've seen him in the flesh a couple of times, Scott Brown, to me, when he was at Hibs, was a number 10, creating stuff, a fucking absolute gallus player, swashbuckling, really creative and really ballsy in possession. But then when he came to Celtic, we seen it in a pre-season game where he was doing step overs and acting the leg a wee bit. But then he just went into a completely different type of player, and he then became a Celtic legend. And I think the expectation I had of Brown coming in was that he was going to be this same young lad that we seen playing for Hibs, but he took on a completely different persona at Celtic, and he went on to be captain and went on to be, as I say, a legend. And he even got his place in this year's Christmas video, which we'll come on to in a wee bit, because at half-time I was...
If you can notice, ladies and gentlemen, Terry now writes the agenda for the show.
No, at half-time I was actually hoping that we would bring on Joe from the Christmas video, because things were that bad in the first half. I thought it was time for Joe to come on. But I think what you just expect with the fee, the expectation level is this guy's completely different level. He's just going to come in here. He's going to take it around everybody. He's going to score every time he gets it. It's totally unrealistic, and it's not what this guy's about. This guy's clearly well regarded with his national team, and I think he's just where the manager expects him to be. He's a young lad coming into a different culture, different country, different fucking temperature, as you would have seen today as well, when I thought today's game would have been at risk, to be honest. And a lot of games across Scotland fell by the wayside. But this lad will definitely leave Celtic for more than we signed him for, and we will have a lot of good moments watching this fella play.
Tony Henderson comes in, Tony. Hey, Saturday night.
Get it there, Tony.
Comments, mate. It says, this is by far the best Celtic channel on YouTube. You know it, mate. You know it, Tony. Tell your pals and all that. Carry on. Brilliant content. Phenomenal host. Phenomenal. That's only me and Phil he's talking about there, Terry. Not
Tony
you.
must be in the
He's
Tony's
talking
in the
about me.
blue label. I
He's
think
doing-
Tony's in the blue label.
Tony's on the blue label. Great banter. Don't ever change. You're the man, mate. We need more Tony Hendersons out there. I hope you're enjoying your fine Saturday. Anyway, Tony, we'll talk. Tony,
No,
Terry.
I'm Terry. I'm not Tony.
You called him Tommy. We're all losing the plot here. Right, okay. Back to the football.
We should maybe talk about the match. Maybe talk about the match.
Aye, talk about the match. Talk about Tommy, Terry. Fucking bring it on. Kyogo Furuhashi gets
ruthless killer.
Oh, the killer himself. He nearly scored. Brilliant save by Gordon. It comes out to him, and he was very ruthless. But what did I like? Because I'm always looking for a different angle, Terry. Tommy. I was looking. I seen the finish from Kyogo, and then the celebration after it. No smiles, just pumped up Kyogo, giving it laldy, mate, right in front of the away fans. And I thought that was good to see. I like it when they're like that. There's not there's a big difference. A big difference to just being there enjoying your football, being there and caring about your football. See, when it came at the crunch, Celtic knew they'd been shanked the first half. They knew it was all at stake. You don't want to. The only drop points Aberdeen had before that was against us. So we're going match for match the same. And we let them then. We were meant to beat them that day. And we let them in that second half. And which I stand by was a brilliant game of football. But we let Aberdeen back in then. Don't fucking, when they slip up today, let them get away with it again. And I think you've seen the importance of that in Kyogo going, whilst you're saying the league's done and, you know, we're miles away from it all. And, you know, as it played out, you could argue that. You don't feel like that at that time. Certainly Kyogo didn't, most importantly. What was your thoughts on the goal and his reaction to it?
Well, my thoughts were, I'm just looking at my notes here, Bhoycie, and they're moving about on the page a wee bit. But I just said...
That's just your handwriting.
5 minutes before, I just wrote Kyogo, another sitter missed. And he's missed so many sitters this season, hasn't he? Like, he's missed loads of sitters. But he missed one just a wee bit before that. But I think it was a very clever finish today because, yes, he's missed the first opportunity. But if you look at the second one, he's actually wrong-footed the defender that was on the line. And I think you've got to give him loads and loads of credit for that. And if you look at the celebration, you're looking at a player who, and I know players say they don't watch or listen to anything that's going on in the media. That's an absolute lie. Those boys are glued. They're clued into absolutely everything that's going on about it. If there's anything going on with their name in it, they'll be watching videos, they'll be reading reports. And he probably is somebody who's under fire a wee bit, rightly or wrongly, because he maybe hasn't hit the heights of previous seasons. But I think that was a great finish. I think if you watch it and you watch it back, he's missed the first chance. He's on hand to get the second one. Defender's on the line, and he's totally wrong-footed him and put it into the net. I think it's a great finish.
Do you know why? You know he's not having as definitive a goal contribution this season is because the instant stat they go to was that's 11 and 14 against Hearts in his Celtic career, and the other ones were 80 and 150. So you know that nobody's actually looking at this season. I don't have the stats in front of me. I mean, could I find the old top scorers? There we go. Maybe have a look there. Kyogo has 5 goals. 5 goals so far in the league.
This season?
5 league goals and 12. Just under 1 and 2.
You'd expect more, but
You would expect more, but do you know what? I think that is the tail of
But it's
the
about
tail
key
of it.
moments, boys. It's about key
Yeah,
moments. And that was the
listen,
key
big man.
moment in this
I agree.
game. That was
I
the key
agree with you.
moment in this game.
I said, listen again now. No, I remember that when it comes to big moments, that's where he's really excelled. I remember so many moments of Kyogos, and they are because they've been when the pressure's been on the bigger stage, etc., etc. I tell you what, we didn't waste, we didn't hang about doubling the lead. I'll say it, and I thought at the time, I know you jot down notes and all that because, well, I don't know, that's what you do. But I jotted a mental note down.
It's an age thing.
A mental note. Yeah, I know, I'm young as fuck still, I know. I'm 37 now. The fuck did that happen?
You're getting there. You're catching up, man. You're
I
catching up.
know.
I've made a few notes about this goal.
Let me tell you quick.
Let's see what you come up with first of all.
I'm not going to get. Well, I thought the interlink play was York and Cole-esque at the new camp. Try and beat that. It just so happened that the York and Cole for Man United at the new camp I'd been watching on like a wee reel, like the wee short videos on Facebook. I just happened to have watched that day, and it was the 1-2. It was 2-1-2s, and I thought I was watching that like half an hour ago on fucking Facebook. It reminded me of it. Brilliant interlink play between the two. Am I going to be the right goal? I am.
Was that whenever the group chat just made his first touch as Rosette?
I know. Yeah, I know. But I think with Nicholas Kuhn, the other thing is, have you ever seen such a transformation? Big Tom was saying there, he was injured last season. That's pish. He played football matches for Celtic last season. That's what I'm comparing it with, mate. I'm comparing when I said earlier about what looked like maybe a lack of personality. It's got nothing to do with an injury. He looked within himself. He was reserved. He wasn't showing characteristics that he is this year. Yeah, there was obviously the health issue. I think it was his teeth. Bizarre. But I have never seen in 5 months a player I've judged over that. That's a considerable period, 5 months. It's reasonably considerable, considering he wasn't brought in as a project signing. He was 24, 23, 24 when he joined. I cannot believe the difference in him as a footballer from what I expected this season from last. That is the biggest sea change I think I've ever seen of a Celtic player. From my expectation of him this year were literally nothing based on 5 months. I'll say that again. 5 months of more than just being underwhelmed, disappointed, really disappointed, just thinking if there was a chance he was going to be the £3 million one that Rodgers had involvement in, then you could kiss that goodbye. He looks just like he's much of a muchness of all the rest of the signings for the summer before. Yeah. And this season, 11 goals, 11 assists. That finish 1-2, 1-2. And then that was me testing the mic, by the way. 1-2, 1-2 with Maida. And then you want to talk about ruthless finishing? Fuck me. I honestly think the turnaround is mind-boggling, and he is almost a certainty now already for the Players' Player of the Year, unless he gets injured. Only an injury prevents him. He scores midweek for me as well. Every time he goes in the park, he's worth a bet to score because bet carefully and all that shit, or whatever the saying is. I don't tell anyone what to do in life. I'm not in a position to. But with Nicholas Kuhn, you fancy him to score every time he plays. I fancy him to score again midweek. That is what you call a killer finish, Terry.
So why only the players' player? Do you not think the football writers and the...
I just fancy saying players' player. Just fancy saying the players' player.
It's done, Bhoycie. That's done. He cleans up. He wins everything.
He set you up with the show with 10 in a row's done as well.
It's done. 10 in a row is done. Anybody that wants can record this right now. Rabble fans, anybody that wants can record this right now. Celtic will win 10 in a row. And you know what? As a Celtic fan, it will be the sweetest thing ever because COVID stopped us winning 10 in a row the last time. And then you'd all these deluded balloons who jumped on the Stevie G thing whenever no fans were there. There was no pressure. It was just behind closed doors, fucking bounce games. And they happened to win it. And That won't happen this time. We will win 10 in a row. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers will be here for it. If he wants to be, he will be. Celtic will win 10 in a row. And record it, timestamp it, do whatever you want. Celtic will win 10 in a row. I'm telling you right now, it's over. It's done. They'll win 20 in a row. They'll win fucking 30 if they want it. It just depends what Celtic want to do in the future. So get that out of the road, first of all. Kuhn, I wrote him off, Bhoycie. I put him in the same bracket as Yang, Palma,
I didn't have Palma in that bracket at that point in time because he was kind of
Palma was above.
He was above him, yeah.
Yeah, he was above him. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he was in there with Yang, Palma, Odenholm. He was somebody with potential that we bought with the hope that we'd fucking strike lucky. Initial thoughts were he looks like Patrick Roberts. He wants to be Patrick Roberts. He's nothing like Patrick Roberts, but now he's on a different level from Patrick Roberts. He's messy. He's fucking messy. Every time he gets the ball, I'm going back to the Engels thing because of his fee. Every time he gets the ball,
don't just gamble responsibly. Please drink responsibly as well, kids.
Shush. Now, every time Nicholas Kuhn gets the ball, you expect him to go on a run, beat 2 or 3, and put the ball in the fucking net. And see that finish today. And I'm trying to look at my notes here. I'm gonna rewind to a goal that we probably didn't want to see. Adeyemi for Dortmund against Celtic. Exact same goal. Remember the one from just in the edge?
I never right thought
into the fucking net, and you're going, what a finish! That guy's a fucking baller. Now I know he scored a hat trick that night, but that was the one finish that I thought, oh my god, what a fucking player he is. Because Schmeichel thought he had it covered because he thought the player was going to go across the goal into the far side, which 95% of the time the player would. That goal is exactly the same as Adeyemi's goal against Celtic in that 7-1 game that we totally wiped from memory, by the way, with our Champions League performances. I seen that and immediately I just had a flashback. Fucking Adeyemi, top corner. I remember when I watched that goal, I just went, fucking hell, you can't do anything about that. Scottish football can't do anything about Nicholas Kuhn. Nicholas Kuhn's on a different level. There's nobody in Scotland can deal with this guy.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. A few comments coming in. Big Dom, I knew you went sober tonight. Big Dom had two bottles of Desperado before coming on.
No, Dom, it's me you've got to be looking at, mate. That's me.
Like 2 bottles of Desperados, mate. Like, you know, I'm on my second pint of vodka now, so we'll see how that goes. But a night out with me, you realise it is a lot more than that. Colo, just a random Colo chant coming in. Love it. And there was another one, Anthony Menzies. Hi, Bhoycie Bus. I've got 4 pages of the passes on paper for the first half. Is that a riddle?
I've no idea what that means.
He's a member, so I don't think he's not trying to take the piss. Hi, Bhoycie Bus.
He's just maybe talking about just passes for passing's sake. I don't know. I've no idea. I can't even remember the first half. I can't even remember the first half, for fuck's sake.
4 pages of the passes on paper.
Bhoycie, the first half was
right. Yeah, fuck the first half. I'm not talking the first half.
No, but I wanted to bring on fucking Joe from the Christmas video, like.
Oh, you're in the Christmas video bit, right? We'll quickly go through the other goals then because me and the judge were talking. Look at Big Dom. He doesn't miss a trick. Jeez, oh mate, have a night off. Fucking hell! I must have put like a wee tiny bit of Ribena. He's clocked out his Ribena. Jeez, oh Big Dom.
Big Dom's on the ball, like.
Hey, fucking hell. We when you wouldn't keep Cape McCann drink. Fucking hell. You wouldn't have lost Maddie. Anyway, right, let's get on to it. Because the Adam Ida goal is important that he got back on song and back at a game where there was a wee bit of pressure, there was eyes on it. And a moment here, maybe we were talking earlier about Kyogo's big moments. Ida's needed a big moment this season. The problem is he's got his 2 goals, but they've been when One was to make it 3-0, one's to make it 4-1. So they've both restored a 3-goal gap. They've not had the same sort of intensity or pressure towards them. However, there can be nothing that does your confidence any harm by scoring 2 goals. When did he come on? What minute did he come on? I've got the list here. He came on 70 minutes, I think it was. 75.
73 to
It
be
says
exact.
75. It says 75 in the BBC. Just saying. But I don't believe everything I see on the BBC. But yeah.
73, it's 73.
73, Terry. No worries, sir. Fuck the BBC. You're right. But I am very impressed and encouraged by the fact he's got his 2 goals. But you know what? See on Twitter, he was getting a lot of flack then as well.
Why?
One of the comments I read was walking about like a lazy John Hartson.
That is bad, to be honest.
I'm like, fucking hell. Imagine if there was social media like O'Neill's team in that. Like, we didn't win every week. And yet we can all recognise how good a team. Imagine like a snapshot reaction like Paul Lambert's passed it when he was like 30. Do you know what I mean? Champions League winner. He's pish. He's not elite. We're a better team. You can hear all that shit on Twitter now. I seen that with Big Eda. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
John, get warmed up. You're coming off.
That's a classic. That is a classic.
My favourite moment ever in football.
In life.
Like, John, get warmed up. Get warmed up. You're coming off.
Get warmed up. You're coming off. That is a classic.
And Martin was in the studio tonight for Sky, by the way.
No, he was very good. He was very good. He's a class act. You can't help but love.
Right, Bina.
Eda, talk to me.
Eda, I think you've got to give a wee bit of credit. David Lugg, he signposted early in the game that Eda would have a key part to play in this game. And I know you said he come on and it was 2-0 and he scored the third and he scored the fourth. Still a key goal, to be honest, because 2-0.
They're all key goals, Terry. They're all key goals.
2-0 still precarious. Like if Hearts happen to get one, then everything's back in the balance. And he scores the third. And I think it's important as well. The fourth, even though it was a penalty, I think it's important for him because the last penalty he took, he missed. And if Engels was on, Engels would have took it. But I think you've now got a scenario where if Engels is on, Engels is first choice, and Eda's back in the game as regards the next player that may take a penalty. And at some point later in the season, that may become very important. So good for him. He missed the international break with injury. And he's, again, probably similar narrative to what I said about Engels in terms of Eda coming in this season compared to what he did last season, compared to the fee. Fans are probably a little bit underwhelmed and we're probably waiting for him to ignite. And you probably have to say you've come on at Tynecastle, you've scored 2 goals in a short period of time. To me, that's him ignited now. And I fully expect him to kick on either in games that he starts or games that he comes on. I think that'll be him up to speed. He's had enough time and he's ready now to play a part in a key part of the season for us on 4 different fronts. And yeah, I'm totally delighted with him getting a couple of goals tonight.
No, I'm more than happy for him to do that as well. I don't think he starts the Champions League game. Right?
Not the next one. He doesn't start the next one. He might start the away one. But
Zagreb's a great shout. A great shout. That, it's maybe been a wee bit stereotypical and all that, but what else have we got to go by? We don't watch Croatian football. Apologies. But, we're expecting hostile atmosphere. Expecting a
it's 7 games in 21. I don't want to keep.
Yeah. No, you're right to highlight that.
7 games in 21 days. He has to start at least 2 of those.
Yeah, you would think so. He's done his case, no harm. Today. Anyway, 4-1. Also, a wee shout out. I thought the Hearts goal was shit hot, and do you know what the weirdest thing was?
What a finish!
Before he struck it, I said goal.
What a finish.
I knew he was going to do that. It was so weird. Anyway, not that matters, but it was just a weird feeling. Fritzl's in the chat asking where the cat is. Yeah, the cat is usually present on the podcast now. He seems to know when I do the podcast. You never see him in the back of my new couch. You never normally see him in the back of the old couch or the new couch. It's only if ever I'm doing the pod, but I had a late one last night, so I think he's recovering. I think he's under the bed. He smoked too many fags last night, Paddy, so he'll not be on the night, I'm afraid. Right, Terry, quite a wee bit to get through on top of the football. AGM. In fact, is it too late for you? What have you got?
No, I'm 100%. I don't have to work to Tuesday, so fill your bits.
Well, we're not staying on until Tuesday.
Can I do one more wee shout out? Will you allow me one more?
Yeah, of course.
The Celtic Supporters Podcast are doing a weekender for the Keno Foundation on the weekend of I think it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th of December. And I know we'll have a couple of shows on, and I'd love you all to join us, but I would just reach out to everybody and say, if you can tune into those guys and support the Keno weekender, that would be really, really good, because it's a really good cause, and those guys are working hard to support that. So I'd just like to post that.
Yes, I agree. Definitely. Celtic Supporters Podcast, they're doing a Keno Foundation all day. So tune in on the 7th, I think it's the 7th of December, and support a great cause, definitely.
Thank you.
Nice one, Terry. I appreciate you saying that. Right, we'll move on. AGM was Friday. Interesting. This is what boils my blood, because it's so easy to now, because everything's hunky-dory, and even in Europe we're doing okay. It's so easy not, Terry, to get wound up by anything Celtic related, because we're all just living in dreamland right now. But fuck that. You have to be honest. And I see Peter Lawwell making stupid old Rangers, new Rangers jokes. Do you know what? Save that for the fucking live chats on podcasts and stuff like that. You know, this is the guy who tried to kid on. See if it's Rangers and the Rangers, by the way, and all that shit. Who's the last player to score against Rangers? Gary Hooper. Who's the non-executive chairman? Who's the chairman at Celtic? I ask you that. He's had 2 titles in this role as well. He joins, remember, trying to pull the wool over our eyes. So if he wants to make out, you know, everyone's stupid for recognising Rangers as what they are and all that crap, you're the same guy who tried to tell your own supporter base you were a non-executive chairman, and now just are declared as the chairman, which is what, if anyone's paying attention, I said from the day his appointment was made, that was his gig. I was getting silly arguments with silly people that just didn't know what they were talking about. I said, if he's the only one with chairman in his title, he's the chairman. And he took the piss out of us there with that. And I just hate that on the back of good work done by a manager he didn't want, good work done by a manager on a squad with recruitments he didn't want, all that, and then he just comes out peacocking at the AGM, making these silly wee jokes, thinking he's almost on stage at the fucking Edinburgh fucking Fringe Festival. I can't be bothered with that, Terry. He's got a long way to go. A long way to go before anyone starts thinking this guy over the last 20 years has done a good job. He's a prick for stuff like that. And that's where that arrogance, that aloofness. See, when we were doing, when there was the nightmare season, the COVID one you were touching on earlier, see, when there's been nightmare situations with recruitment, and there's been, by the way, countless awful European campaigns. This is that wee sign you'll get to the aloofness and arrogance of that guy who's been in a position of power throughout that time. And he doesn't realize he's giving you that insight. So at an AGM, when he's wanting to peacock and act the way he is, he's not realizing you're going, flip it. And imagine the fans being raging at something and that being the guy at the helm. He's giving you insights to what his character's like. I didn't like all that. And there was one other thing as well, as my takeaway from the AGM that I've seen. I've got 2 more actually. He said about Celtic, our focus now is the Champions League. the pennies dropped for them too late, Terry, because they've lost the automatic Champions League place. If they'd been listening to the bus properly over the last few years, they'd have realised to keep the Champions League at the forefront of your mind is as important as anything for Celtic's future. And the reason for that is we've got a Celtic, or Rangers did really, predominantly with a lot of the coefficient points they unexpectedly earned. We got a lot of ours through default. But the coefficient points getting us the automatic Champions League access, for us to be losing that next year, just when we've picked the ball up in the competition, sums us up. And for him now to be talking about not just being, it's impossible to compete. Look at teams like Everton, they struggle financially and all this crap before when we were in the Champions League then at the same time. Now it to be fucking, that's our only focus. Shut up, mate. You don't know what you're talking about. You're making it up as you go along. The Champions League's your focus because we've won points in it this year. So you want to turn it into, see, that's what we're focused on. It's utter bullshit. I don't buy it. And the other thing he did that annoyed me, he was asked about Matt Lawwell, or the panel was, whatever. And because of the person who was asked the question, he says he's got a personal agenda against me and my son. So they decided not to go along with answering the question and put it to Michael Nicholson or son in a different way. And I think that's in my opinion, I think that's dictatorship shit. And just, I'll go back to my old catchphrase, Terry, and this is my rant over. Always keep your eyes on the board.
Boy, see, you're probably asking the wrong person, because I tuned in on Friday just to keep an eye on things, and I watched the start of it, and it's just the same as it's been over the last 2, 3, 4 years, where you've got a recorded message with Nicholson, Lowell, and the manager of the men's team, and this year the manager of the women's team. And I watched the first 10 seconds of Peter Lawwell, and then I fast forwarded, and then I watched the first 10 seconds of Michael Nicholson, and then I fast forward. I watched the women's manager interview, and she spoke very well. And then I watched Brendan Rodgers, and he did what you expect him to do. It's now gone from this AGM has now gone from something where important matters are discussed and supporters get key information about the things that they care about, to just an absolute pantomime where everything's pre-prepared. It's a stage act. It's about likes.
Yep, you're sure right.
It's about likes on social media, and you've got people who are in high positions earning massive salaries, trying to be comedians. They think they're Kevin Bridges. They think they're fucking Billy Connolly. It's embarrassing. It's totally embarrassing. And I just zone out of it because it's absolute bullshit. Like, fucking Michael Nicholson's gone up there thinking he's Kevin Bridges, trying to make jokes. Gary Hooper, this, that, and the other. Let's be honest. I want to wind this back a wee bit, because I came out of last summer completely underwhelmed. I know we broke our transfer record twice. I thought we could have done so much more. And this board are lucky. They're a fucking lucky board, because things could have been different. Rangers could have had a good start to the season. We could have had a bad start to the season. So much of our improvement from Ange team to current Brendan team, Champions League, looking at that development, 2 points under Ange. We're now on the verge of qualifying for the next phase under Brendan. So much of that's down to the manager. And I still I'll die on my sword. I'll fall on it right now. I think last summer was underwhelming. I really do. I know we broke our record twice. I know we brought in Ida, we brought in Engels, we brought in fucking Bernardo. I still think we could have done so much more. And yet you've still got these people talking about we have to fucking be prudent. We have to be careful because next year we're not guaranteed. Well, do you know what? See, next year we would be guaranteed if you guys fucking speculated to accumulate.
The summer before. If they'd done it the summer before,
the qualification
that was
next year. For a team that's about to qualify for the next phase, and we will qualify for the next phase, of this Champions League, there should be no question about us coming through the qualifiers, through the Champions phase. If you were coming through the runner-up phase, the Aberdeen phase, or the Dundee, or the Falkirk, or Bonnybig Rose, or Rangers, whichever one of those.
Bonnybig.
If you were coming up through the runner-up phase, you've got a challenge in your hands. But coming up through the Champions phase, Celtic, Glasgow Celtic, former winners of this competition, team that has won the league, I don't know, 19 out of the last 20, whatever the fuck it is, I don't care. We should not be budgeting on we might not get through next season. Next season, we should be waltzing through. And we're now in a position where the Champions League of next season, we're in control of our destiny. It's not a case of we might not get there. If we go out and get 1, 2, 3, and I know I've said Engels is probably underwhelming, but I'm talking about the same profile of signing. We can go out in January and we can get 1, 2, 3 more of them. Next season, we get into that Champions League and we build on what we've done this season, and we continue to generate millions upon tens of millions of pounds of money, and it's just an endless cycle. So see this pish about, oh, we might not get there next year. That's on you guys. That's up to you to fucking, the manager's done his bit, the players have done their bit. It's up to you to make sure we get there. And see this, I used to pay attention to the AGM, and it used to be something that you look forward to, maybe getting an insight, and you'd proper supporters asking proper questions of the proper people. But now it's just pantomime. It's all prepared. It's all staged in advance. It's all fucking rerun with cut after cut after cut, and then it's just bullshit. You've guys up there thinking they're Kevin Bridges, and they just end up looking stupid. Yeah. They end up looking stupid, and they embarrass the club a wee bit, to be honest.
I think as well, Terry, one of the things that fuck me off with it is, it's like when the going gets tough, the tough get going. When the going's tough, he fucks off. He comes back when it's a bit rosier, but he goes to halfway house and he's non-executive chairman. Suddenly the going's looking like it's good again. He's fucking front, left, centre at these events, as people are alluding to in the chat. And I just see real fucking. It's all stage managed, as you said, and people.
Bollocks. I don't even pay attention.
But you've got to pay attention to it, Terry. This is the problem, because you cannot just carry on being a fool all your life when it's in plain sight.
What can you or me or Mark or Phil or
I think we have a decent platform, mate.
What can you do?
Think the platform. I think
you don't get access. You don't get access. You only get invited to these things if you're gonna fucking make a joke question.
Let me explain. So what I'm saying is, when you've got a platform, we're on the road to 5K. Just drop that in. 5,000 subscribers. Who'd have thought it in 3 years? It's a lot for us. I know it's not the fucking be all end all, but trust me, when you're doing that to 5,000, our recurring per month is 5.2 thousand different people watch the channel. Now,
right, I'm going to increase my fee after you saying that.
Oh no, I've been waiting on that call. But 5.2 thousand individual viewers we get a month.
That's
on
amazing.
average. On average. Not all of them are subscribers. But that is then a platform to be highlighting these things. So I've got to push back and say, what do you want us to do? Highlight it. Flag it. And the more
what does us on YouTube do?
Let me get there. So then it's not about us on YouTube. It's about a thought process then. People, some will agree, and of course not everyone will. But the more people that hear that sort of viewpoint and see everything getting flagged and signposted and highlighted of and reminded of, as you're signposting current events, remind them of the past ones that they've got a cheek to be sort of acting the big I am about. I think you then get a thought process in charge where you don't get off their back, you don't get off their case, you stay at them. And the more people that are of that mindset and getting reminded and seeing it on channels like this, where they go, oh yeah, just because the going's good doesn't mean it's not the folk I was hating a year ago when the things didn't look good. They're still the same people in situ. I think you've got to use the platform to be doing that. And I think it can achieve something. I'm not trying to do Celtic for changing that shite, you know what I mean? Well, I think it's very important that honesty gets out there as well. And I'm not a happy clapper who, oh, well, the team's winning, so I'll just shut my mouth. Is that you away?
No, I'm pulling on my coat. It's fucking freezing.
You cold?
I am cold, Bhoycie. If it's the oil heating on for 5 hours, the wife's been down 2 or 3 times saying we can't afford this. And honestly, it's freezing. I can't get warmed
This
up.
is him trying to, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is him trying to get the fee up. This is what this is. He is at it.
No, honestly, she watches the oil meter and she's out testing it every day with a stick to see how much it's moved down. And if it moves down, it's because of my shed, because I work down here and then I do the Bhoycie Bus down here. It's fucking freezing over here. Like, I genuinely was surprised at the match. Not surprised that the match went ahead, but I thought it would have been in jeopardy, because I got up this morning and I go to watch my 3 young lads playing. I got up this morning at 7 o'clock and I got on the treadmill for half an hour.
Fuck off.
No, listen.
Fuck
Genuinely. I was on the treadmill at 7 o'clock this morning and I've done half an hour. I've done 5K every day. Listen, shush. I've done 5K every day for the last 2 weeks. And I know that's not much.
That's good.
But for a fat bastard who hasn't done anything for 5 years, 5K every day for 2 weeks is tough.
Are you walking
it? I've done 5K. I got up this morning, I've done it at 7. And then I went to the football from a young lad. And the kickoff was 9 o'clock. We arrived at the pitches at 8:30. We arrived at the pitches at 8:30. And the thing was called off. But listen, that's a totally different thing, because the pitches are owned by the council and the league is run by an independent body. And there's a game of poker goes on from November to February over the fixtures every week. And it's the council don't want to put their cards down and say the game's off, because if the league call it off, the council still get paid. But if the council call it off, the league don't have to pay the fees. So it's a game of poker, but yet you have thousands of people driving to venues that aren't playable, and you find out once you're there. And I thought today would play out. And if you look out with the SPL, there was a lot of games called off in Championship, League 1, League 2. And I thought today was in jeopardy. And it was probably lucky that the game was an evening kickoff. Which allowed a lot of rain to get rid of the snow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What did you ask me to start? It was nothing to do with that.
Ah, fuck knows, mate. We're talking about your 5K at one point. That sounded me.
Well, 5K. Well, I'm doing my 5K every day. I've done 5K every day for the last 2 weeks.
It's not this is your life, Terry.
I'm on a strict fucking diet. This is your life. I'm on a strict diet of fucking prawns, chicken, chicken, and water. And that's about it. I've lost it. I've shed a stone. I'm nothing now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not up there. I'm not up there in the upper echelons of weight loss like Phil McGinley, who looks like a fucking movie star, by the way.
Oh, he's a handsome bastard, Phil.
But I have lost a stone in the last 4 weeks, and I feel a lot better for it. And if I can get one more stone off, then I'll be delighted. I'll be over the moon.
Yeah, yes. No. I hope so. Graham Terrell says, go the bus 5K and count.
Get them up there.
We'll get up to 5K. Anyway, talking about 5K or kilometres, the players are going to need to run a lot of kilometres midweek, because I was saying to Mark, I think this is the acid test. See if we really want a gauge of, is this European campaign being 7 unexpected points picked up? And you know what? That's just maybe where Celtic are on European stage. Or is this 7 points full of belief? And we'll find out where the 7 points is what it's been based on so far. And I think Club Brugge at home is the type of test that we walk into going, holy fuck, you win that and it's validated the 7 points that are picked up so far. This is a winnable game, but a really, really tough test. And
it's a perfect game, Bhoycie. It's jeopardy. It's a game which, based on what we've seen so far, it's a game which you would expect to win, but it's not. It's not a Bratislava.
No, of course it's not. This is
not
the
a
acid
gimme.
test.
It's not a
This is
gimme.
the
This
acid
is a
test.
proper side. This is a proper side. And unless, if we don't meet the same levels that we produced against Leipzig, we probably don't win the game. It's that performance. These players have got to dig deep, and that's why I was a wee bit surprised that we went with that 11 today, because that's the 11 that starts.
He's wanting that. He's wanting that energy from it, though. He's wanting that the connections rebuilt.
But it's that energy if you've travelled all over the fucking world for 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean?
He's looking for the team connection made to be built back up. That's what he's doing, and that's why he does what he does. In terms of the fixture, I think you're right. I do think it'll be the same team that we go with. What are your thoughts on how it goes? Because Celtic at home are on a run of 3 home games, Champions League wins. And yeah, we could, if you want to do the alternative angle, you could go fine or a dead rubber. Slovan Bratislava did what we need to do. But we spanked Bratislava, which I keep saying, is the first sign I've seen in the Champions League. We did what we were expected to do in the Champions League. I don't know if I've ever done that. I think we beat Lyon 2-0. I think we expected to beat them at home. We knew we had the better of them. Remember, we lost away that stupid.
Liam Miller had a wonderful.
Yeah, he was wonderful that day. Sutton as well. Henrik Larsson 2 assists. But we did what we knew we could do that day, and it was such a satisfying 2-0 win. And I thought with Bratislava, the reason I'm satisfied with the 5-1, I felt was fucking hell. I thought we should smash them, and we actually did it, and that was really satisfying from that. But with Club Brugge, I think we should win that game. I think we should put ourselves on to 10 points, and I do have the confidence that we will. And it's a nice feeling to have that, but all will be said and done come the end of the game when the result is obviously played out. Do you think Celtic are going into it, though, with the 7 points, with real feeling like this is 7 points on merit? We've arrived now, because a lot of the squad's now got, as I was alluding to earlier, the importance of fucking automatic group qualification means you're most seasoned in the competition. There's been a wee tweak to it, but at the end of the day, it was all about winning points at the top level. That's what we've done. We've played the UEFA Cup champions and the Champions League finalists so far, and we've played the Bundesliga second place team. So don't tell me that the format of the tournament's really benefited us so far. I just can't subscribe to that. It's 7 points on merit. It's 7 more points we would have got this time last year. It's 7 more points we got the year before and the year before that. So now we go into this game. Is it going to be substance to be backed up on the 7 points, or is it built on sand? Do you expect us to get the win?
100% expect us to win. Expect us to win the game. If I know it's not a barometer to go on, but you go by the bookies odds, and we're even money to win the game, which means they think there's a toss of a coin between us winning or it being a draw or a defeat. I think when you've come off the back of the Leipzig game, you've come off the back of the Atlanta game, you totally expect to win this game. Now, we could be sitting here during the week talking about a game where we come up short, and I totally subscribe to that could be an outcome. And I think that's probably when you look at the 8 games and you try to plot your points, you didn't plot for us to get anything in Italy, and you probably plot it for us to get either 0 or 1 against Leipzig at home. But by the same token, that means you could not get the points that you plotted in the home games. And I think this is one of those games that is right in the balance. I think the Young Boys game, you fully expect to win that. But this game is probably one of them ones where, because of what we've done so far, you expect to win it. but it's a real banana skin. It's a real tricky game. It's a flip of a coin. This game's a flip of a coin. Now, I expect us to get the job done, and I expect the manager to get a team out there that can get the job done. I didn't expect him to pick the 11 he picked tonight because I expect him to plan ahead and prepare for the midweek game. But it looks like he's gave tonight's game the utmost respect, despite the results from earlier on. This is a key game, Bhoycie. This game dictates. If we win this game, we're in the next round after Christmas. If we don't win it, we still got work to do. If we win it, we're guaranteed to be through. And then we also, ridiculously, have a chance to get in the top 8 with 3 games to go. Can you imagine how stupid that is? And if you look at this revamped league, you've got teams like Paris, you've Man City, you've Real Madrid. You've got teams like this scrambling about to try and get through to the next round, and we're pretty much there with half the games to go. So this is a very, very important game during the week, and you just hope we can pick up where we left off against Leipzig. If we put in the same performance that we did against Leipzig, we win this game 2-3, 4-0. That's what happens. If we're off it, it becomes a toss of a coin. But genuinely, the job this team have done with the manager, and I'm not absolving the board because I still think we could have done more. I honestly think we could have done 2 more Engels Ada type signings. I genuinely think we could have done it, and we didn't because that's just what we are. We're a safety first fucking organisation. I think we could have done a left back.
Are we a good team though right now? I think that is one
thing.
We're
a very, very good team.
A good team.
We're a fucking very good
just
team.
To balance, I'm just trying to bring balance.
On the European level, we're a good team.
Let's find out as well.
We're a good team that can compete against very good teams, and we're a European team that will probably struggle against the top teams. And what I mean by that is the draw that we got pitched us against.
Have we not played 3 top teams so far, though, mate?
No, I haven't.
Okay, who are the top teams that we've not? Who is the top team we've played?
Leipzig and Dortmund. And
the UEFA Cup champions aren't a top team?
No chance.
That ended Leverkusen's all unbeaten season.
I don't give a fuck.
But why? Yeah, but not giving a fuck's not an answer.
It's the answer. If we had played
not an answer, mate. I'm sorry.
Right, I'll give you an answer. If we had played any of the top English, Italian, Spanish teams, they would have been better. They would have been better.
You're trying not to say Germans. We beat a German one. We beat one of the best. We draw one of the best Italian teams away. But that's not that is because you don't give a fuck.
No.
You're better than that.
No.
Your part's better than that.
Listen. They're one of the top Italian teams.
I hate that word.
But the difference between them and the top Italian teams, which would have been Inter,
they're in the Champions League.
I know.
They're a UEFA Cup champion.
Listen. Right, okay. Listen, I'm just going to challenge your argument. Okay. They're in the Champions League. Why are they in the Champions League? Why?
If you win the Europa League, mate, it's quite an achievement, so it gets recognised.
No, but in the leagues, why do you get into the Champions League in the leagues? Because you finished in the
top 4.
Okay, so if we translate that to the SPL, who finished 4th in the SPL last year?
The SPL is not a strong league.
No. But you're going by the argument.
No, but your argument's flawed.
Yes, but yours is also flawed.
No, it's not.
Because you're going by you're trying to judge the Italian league and the German league by the team that finished 3rd, 2nd, or 4th.
No, I judged it by the fact they won a European competition last year.
Atalanta,
I think that makes them an elite
Atalanta are nowhere near Inter Milan. Leipzig.
Atalanta finished 4th in Serie A last year.
Yes, exactly. They're nowhere near.
So
Inter
finishing
Milan,
4th
who
in Serie
finished
A
first.
and winning Europa League, and you think they're an elite team.
No.
Stop it. You sound stupid.
Wished. They're nowhere near Inter Milan.
Atalanta finished
They're
4th
nowhere
in
near
Serie
Inter
A
Milan.
and won the Europa League. They're not elite.
They're good. They're good. They're a fucking
They're
good
good.
side.
Who's
but
a bit Leipzig are better?
They're not Inter Milan. And
What's
Leipzig.
Inter Milan got to do with it? I asked you.
Inter Milan won the league. You fucking dickhead.
What teams
Inter
have we
Milan
played?
won the league.
But
Listen, Inter Milan
So Dortmund
left Atlanta behind. Bayern Munich had a one-off season in the last 20 years. They would have left Leipzig behind by about 20 points. We have had the luckiest draws in this Champions League, and we fucking made hay. We've made hay when the sun
What
shines.
has been lucky? What has been lucky about playing the Champions League runners up away from home? The Europa League winners in 4th place in Serie A, elite Atalanta side away from home, and the second place.
I expect better of you.
Can I just quote you? Can I just quote you? And the other elite team we've played, Leipzig, at home and beat them. So 3 out of 4, I think I think 2 out of 4 are elite. You think 2 out of 4 elite. But guess what? We disagree on what the two teams are. So that tells you 3 out of 4 must have been a real struggle. What's been favourable about that? What's kind about that?
I expect better of you. I really do. I expect better of you.
To dissect your argument and just give you
I expect better of you.
What do you expect better of?
Dortmund had a totally charmed life to get through to that Champions League final. Totally charmed
life. You can't say the Celtic have a charmed life to get the European Cup final.
Huh?
The Celtic, it's a charmed life now to make finals. Is it fuck? It doesn't exist. See, to get to a European final, mate, you have to do really well.
Right, that's fair enough.
It's not charmed. There's no handouts at this level, mate.
Yes, but
you don't get it.
You're asking me about our.
You said it's been favourable. We've made hay
so far.
You said we've made hay and a favourable draw so far.
Yeah,
and I'm outlining
totally favourable
Leipzig, Dortmund, and Atalanta.
It was the easiest draw you could get. It was the easiest draw you could get.
We've got the easier games to go, you idiot. We've played the 3 out of the 4 fixtures the hardest.
Aston Villa is the best team that we've drawn. Aston Villa is ahead of Dortmund, ahead of Leipzig. Absolutely, 100%. I'm not joking you. Look at your face, you dickhead. Aston Villa is the best team we will play in this competition.
I'll ask you again then.
Right, ask me again.
What has been favourable about playing the Champions League finalists of last season, the Europa League winners, and 4th place in Serie A, and the present, at the time we played them, the present 2nd place side in the Bundesliga? What's favourable draw part about that? What's the favour we're getting?
I'll answer that.
What's the favour we're getting?
We could have drawn a lot harder teams than them.
Name them.
If you had handpicked, listen, if you had handpicked the draw, which I did, I handpicked the draw, right? And see, out of the 8 teams we played, I handpicked 5 of them as the easiest we could have got.
And 3 of the 4 teams you played so far are those. So Bratislav's one of them.
Across me. What's the point of me even being here?
Sorry, mate. I'd
just be better logging off. Oh,
don't be like that,
No, just be better logging off.
It's called interrogation, Terry.
No, listen. If I handpicked the draw, we got the pot A team and the pot B team that I wanted. We've had the perfect draw and we have made hay when the sun shined. But Bhoycie, you have to understand.
That's not what you originally said.
It is. It's the same thing. I said make hay when the sun shines. That's what I said. What did I say?
I think everyone's on my side, to be honest. And that takes
go ahead. What did I say? I can't even remember. It was only about 3 minutes ago. What did I say?
You said we've had a favourable draw and so far
yes, we had the most favourable draw ever.
But that alluded to the teams you've played are favourable. And I'm asking you how the 2nd place team in Germany, the side that are the Europa League winners, that ended Leverkusen's unbeaten run the whole season. They'd won every single game they played, other than Atalanta in the Europa League final, and we've played Dortmund away. And you're telling me I'm asking you what the favourite is in that. I don't think there is one. I don't see any favourable draws.
I'll
I
tell
think
you
the
what the
7 points are
favourable
no merit.
draw is.
I think actually the other teams
tell
have
you
got
what
to
it
come.
is. No, I'll tell you what it is.
You're going to cut me off, I'll cry.
Yes,
I think
I fucking am. I'm going to cut you off. Instead of playing Leipzig or Atlanta, you should have played Inter Milan or Barcelona or fucking some of them teams.
No, mate, because you're not going by the seeds then. You've got to go by the seeds.
Nah, you're just going by the fucking seat of your pants. We got the most favourable draw we could possibly get in a
But still to play them,
time.
Though. I think the favourable teams to play are the ones still upcoming. That's my honest opinion. I think Club Brugge, Young Boys at home, they're really favourable ties.
We're home in the boat.
But I think the teams we've played so far though aren't the favourable ones. I think they're the ones I would go.
Listen,
they're really hard. I think Young Boys at home, Club Brugge at home, Zagreb away.
We could finish in the top 8, and we could end up playing Man City or Paris Saint-Germain. That's what could happen here.
Totally, mate. No, totally. So listen, there's no
which is great, which is fucking great, by the way. And I think when this concept was brought in by UEFA, who are clearly trying to get a European league, they weren't expecting flies in the ointment like Celtic to fucking be challenging for the top 8. Do you know what I mean? But we've gone in there and we have fucking done a job. We are ahead of where we should be at this point in this competition. But this game against Bruges is a fucking key turning point, because that's a crossroads where we go from being a team that are just also rans hoping to get through to a team that are just also rans thinking we really can get through to a team that is just also rans we're going to get through to a team that is we might fucking finish in the top 8 here. And you know what it's like? It's just Celtic. Who's that there? Go away, Grim. I'm not drunk. We could end up finishing in the top 8, and we end up fucking drawing Man City or Paris Saint-Germain. It'd just be a Celtic thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. It's exciting though either way. Do you wonder?
It's brilliant. I love it. Absolutely.
Do you wonder if the board are a wee bit of them going, do you know what, top 16 or the top 24 would be better, because then you've got to play your qualifier, then you make the last 16 after that, and they're going, this extra fixture, don't make the top 8, you bastards. You're cutting off 2 fixtures.
I think you get money for qualifying.
Would you get more money for the top 8?
I think that would override what you would make from the gate receipts.
Yeah, that's true. No, that does make sense. Just try to find any devil.
Oh no, I've thought about that. The board are probably thinking you get another match in, fucking merchandise, flies, all that piss. But I think you get, if you qualify for the top 8, I think you make more money than you would ever get through the gate.
A lot of I've seen this a few times come in the chat. Art the Campion, Kenneth Vargas to Celtic.
Hearts player.
I think he is. Is he the one that played fullback in the first game at the start of the season?
No, that's the right back. Where
was he today?
I think it's a different player.
Because we liked him, didn't we?
I think Vargas is an attacking midfielder. I think the right back's the guy that he absolutely ran the show against Rangers, and then he played well against us. I don't think it's the same player. I don't think it's the same player.
I didn't think I'd seen the fullback. Anyway, talking about just before we go.
There's nobody at Hearts we're getting to Celtic's team.
No. It'd be remiss.
There's only one player in Scotland we'll get into Celtic's team.
Don't make me still let me finish.
There's only one player in Scotland that will get into Celtic's team that doesn't play for Celtic.
And it's Lennon Miller.
100%.
Yeah, well, we called it. I called it last summer. You probably didn't. You were probably too busy scouting.
No, I called it 2 years ago. I'm ahead of the curve. Don't you worry about that. I called it 2 years ago. That's the only. See if we only make one signing in January and it's him, that's job done.
He should have been signed in the summer. Anyway, okay. Taylor, that's it. Alex has came in. You're right. It was someone Taylor. I really liked him. Anyway,
Dennis
moving on.
Taylor or something like that.
It was
Something
Dennis Taylor. Dennis
Something
Taylor was the
No,
snooker
I said
player.
Dennis, not Dennis. Fuck's sake, Dennis. Dennis with the glasses.
Dennis Taylor.
It's Kenneth, you fucking dickhead. Hold on a minute. Hold on, Bhoycie. Hold on. Just 1 second here. Fuck's sake. Hold on to talk to my beautiful assistant. What do you call the Hearts player that called Taylor? Gerald Taylor.
Dennis Taylor.
Fucking Dennis. The last time I seen you playing a fucking pool shot, Jesus Christ, you were 9-0 down for fuck's sake, 4-10.
That's true. I'm breathing. Right, okay, I'll look at Paddy Boys came in. This is out of control. It's not, I mean, Paddy, it's okay, mate. We're just having a laugh. Mate. And you know what, Paddy? Life's nice when it's a wee bit out of control. You don't want
Life's
the full
too
rain.
short, Paddy.
You don't want the full rains on it the whole time. It's good to have fun. Right, before we go, it'd be remiss of me, Terry, not to have a wee quick look at the domestic league. It looks like Aberdeen choked, Rangers choked. Only team in the top three that won. And we're only calling it a top three because it's Rangers. The title race, we've just put 3 points ahead of Aberdeen. First and foremost, that's a landmark result for them because that is their first league defeat. It was a game you expect them to win. Mark expected them to win. I said we'll treat the game that we will, that they will win. They got it back level and then went behind again. So they've went behind twice today. Listen, he's done amazing work there to try and see it out over 38 games. They might look at it and just go, it's a blip in the road, and that'd be a champion's mentality. I just happen to think that these results will crop up more and more often between now and the end of the season. And the crest of the wave that they were on was sensational, and they maximised it, which was so refreshing to see. Any thoughts on Aberdeen's loss today?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I expected them to get the job done, to be fair. I thought they would have won. But I think between now and the end of the season, it's a separate challenge. It's between them and Rangers for second place. The league is done. Make no bones about it. It's done. It's over. It's, for me as a Celtic fan, it's about Champions League now. It's about prioritising fixtures. And I would expect to see the lineups in the SPL reflect the fact that the Champions League is now the priority. Going back to the pantomime that was the AGM, the stance I took from that is that we see the Champions League as the area for growth, and that should manifest itself in the priorities of the manager picking the players, which is why I was surprised today that we prioritise this match over the midweek game. But
that might not be the ideology behind it, though, to be fair.
The SPL
quickly as well. Do you think as well?
Done.
Yeah, it's like they're pivoting now. The Champions League's the focus because Aberdeen are second. That's I think that's such a big factor in them saying, our vision is Champions League and European football for Celtic, and it's like, no, it's only that because Aberdeen are second. You realise that the team that you kind of react to the most, you still are, and that's what Rangers bring to the table. That's what they react to. And when Rangers are bringing nothing to the table, they've decided to go, we focus on Champions League. That's where we see our future. I feel everything's reactive to what they do still, which annoys me. Let's talk about their result today. I watched the second half. Once I had the 1-0 down, I'm like, I'm not up to much. I could turn that on.
I didn't see it. I was watching.
They dominated the second half.
I was watching the Ange retirement party away to Man City. Fuck, he'll down out in that for the next 10 years.
Oh yeah. What do you make though of Rangers caught a point on Aberdeen, which I think genuinely is a bit of a win for them this weekend? And I know it's great for us to be able to say that, and it's great because it just sounds so snide and so loaded when you say that. But the honest truth is, I feel that was a good thing for them. Yeah, put that in the glass, mate. It goes in the glass all over the
That's
bar.
the last of the blue label.
Oh fuck! I'll send you a bottle over the week, mate. Since your fees went up and you can't afford heating. But as for the result with Rangers today and Celtic's impact on that by them winning, that puts us another 2 points. What are we, 11? How many points clear are we of them? 11?
I'm listening.
Are we 11 points clear? Well, he's listening. I think that puts us 11. Yeah, 11 clear. And then if we win next week, that'll be 14 clear before they play their match against St Johnstone away. It's truly remarkable that for a side that kept a manager, extended his contract so recently, that seems to have went absolutely by the wayside yet again. And I suppose we have seen the movie several times before, but my biggest thing with it is if Aberdeen do end up having more results like they did against St Mirren today, is that when Rodgers talks about I'm 18 months into a 3-year deal, it sounded to me like Rodgers was being pretty guarded and pretty resistant to talk of extending said deal or talking about extending his deal at this moment in time. I just wonder if results like today do actually put off that getting that other Rodgers level sort of manager in if Brendan wasn't there, because the competition isn't at the races whatsoever. Aberdeen, we expect to have results like this along the way. We didn't expect them to do what they've done. Rangers now dropping points at home against a shitty Dundee United side. I know they do okay in the league, but trust me, they went 1-0 up and all that. Jim O'Brien, I mean, I know he's a handsome bastard, but all he wants to do is protect what we've got. He's so negative in that sort of thought process. But Terry, I was just saying there, I don't know if you heard, 14 points.
Between I did hear you.
14 points clear we could be. 14 points, mate. Before they play St Johnstone away on Sunday morning or Sunday lunchtime. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, when you factor that in, and it's only November, it'll still be November next Sunday. No, it'll be the 1st of December, sorry. But that early, a title race is over, essentially. I wouldn't be surprised if Aberdeen go lose their next game as well. How do you then expect managers to be wanting to entertain 18 months new deals? Remember when Rodgers came in, it was Michael Beale was the manager of Rangers and had done their biggest expenditure that summer that they'd done since they've been back in the top flight or in the top flight for the first time to appease all that shite. Rodgers would expect a big challenge. See, for it to be 18 months in, the landscape's changed that much that potentially he's going to be his third manager he's up against. Because Clement may well not last it by the end of next week if he were to lose to St Johnstone away, which no one would be surprised by. You can see why I'm not being a dick, and I'm not trying to be a sycophant for Rodgers, but do you not see why a competitive, and if he is elite manager, might be 3 years? He started going, that's 6, by the way, I've done. It's a long time for a Celtic manager. I think he's alluding to, don't be surprised if I still see the shit shows going on around me domestically, if we're not really making strides in Europe 2 years in a row, which this year would be the big stride, the first big stride. Next year would be the second one. If he doesn't see that, I think he'd probably wait till the end of next year before making a move and deciding whether he wants to stay or not. And I think there is arguments to suggest why it might become a job that we're kind of just going round Groundhog Day and you won't have moments like, as you say, Ange had at Man City's ground.
My gut feel, Bhoycie, is that Rodgers is on the wind down. I don't think he harbours ambitions of English Premiership anymore. He's already turned down the money from China and things like that. I think he's on the wind down. I think the role he's in now is perfect for that outset on life, on career, and stuff like that. I genuinely think there'll be a small part of him that'll think they made a song about me and I didn't do it, and now I've got the chance to do it. Do I do it? I don't see Brendan Rodgers going into the English Premiership again. I think that ship has sailed. I think there'll be opportunities for him in China, Saudi, stuff like that.
Yeah,
He doesn't need that.
You sound like Donald Trump when you say China.
He doesn't need that money. He's made his money. It's up to him. Does he go to that environment and earn himself more money that he really doesn't need, or does he try to make himself a legend in the history of Celtic Football Club? I think at this stage it'll be the latter. I think he's been very, very coy in his media interviews because he knows there's still a section of the support that aren't fully behind him and will never forgive him. I think he's here for as long as he wants to be here. He'll decide it. The board won't decide it. There's not going to be anything happen where the board will decide we have to get rid of this manager because Rangers are competing with us or they've overtook us or anything like that. It's up to him. He's got whatever pension he wants available at Celtic. He won't get back in the English Premiership. If he wants to uproot and go to China or Saudi or somewhere like that and earn ridiculous money, then well enough, but he'll never spend it in his life. So I expect what will happen here is Rodgers will play this out. I think he's our manager for the long term.
I hope so. But could you? But see, my original point I was trying to make there. See, when you're joining the dots here, mate, and you're looking at, he's came in because there was a bona fide challenge. Apparently, Michael Beale was record spending at Rangers 2.0, if you want to call it that. I'm not going down that road, by the way. But just since they were back in the league, he was getting the real backing. It felt like Michael Beale was bringing an attractive style of football. And the last derby, they'd won 3-0. So there was this backdrop that he was coming back and he was under a real challenge this time. Since then, he's fucking wiped the floor with it. Or, to be honest with you, I think they've also created their own downfalls. There's many reasons for that. There's debts that go on, I think, over at that club. People will not be privy to. I think there's players in that squad that have been overpaid for what they can bring to the table. And I also just think there's a disconnect between the modern world and their prehistoric thoughts at times that I think does cost them. I think they're all about blood, thunder, passion. But
you
really,
have now, Bhoycie, though, if this thing where they think Gerrard is, if Gerrard came back, we automatically dominate. Gerrard,
I get that, mate. He's a figurehead, though, and he's a figurehead, and for them, though, he is the face of stopping the 10. So I'll be honest to you, I kind of get that. I'm not saying it's right, but I kind of get when you need hope. That's what it is. Anyway, we are way too late, mate, for me to be still on. It is 5 past
midnight. Fucking brilliant.
After midnight, it'll be a long taster than that in the bus. Anyway, Terry, I can't thank you enough, mate. We'll catch up tomorrow, mate. And thank you for the shout outs you've done tonight. Really appreciate that. I got a wee shout out as well. I heard there was another wee podcast made some awards. Won some awards. Through the week. I got a message for the wee fella. He said,
Be gentle, Bhoycie. Come on.
I'm gentle.
Olive branch. Put an olive branch there. Go on.
Mate, he told me the dust had settled on his London trip. I didn't even know he'd been in London, but it was lovely to hear that they won more awards. It's still not as many as when I was on it, so good luck to them. But that's satire, by the way. It's a joke. But yeah, it was nice to hear from him as well. Telling you, man. 100 million contract, 100 million pounds.
I thought you were going to say 100 million people on live. Listen, support the Celtic Supporters podcast on their Keno weekend in 2 weeks' time. Let's do it.
I'll see you all later. Bye.